Hey guys, what's up? Today we need to cull a rooster. 2 reasons. One, I want to make some chicken stock, and 2, I got an extra rooster, so we gotta do what we gotta do. I'm not going to show the actual dispatching of the animal because I'm trying to maintain general interest in our media, right? So right now I'm gonna get my whirly bird plucker put together and hooked up. Then we're gonna go catch our bird. We're gonna get him into the hereafter, and then we'll get them all cleaned up and ready to go and start making some stock. All right. We're heating this pot of water up to what we want is 160 to 165 degrees at the skin of the bird whenever we dunk it. I'm gonna actually heat this beyond that point to maybe around 170 because normally I'd be heating the water in the barn on a little stove out there, but since I'm just doing the one, I'm gonna heat it up in here, carry the pot out, dunk the chicken there, and then drop it into the plucker. So there's gonna be a little bit of time between taking it off the stove in here to taking it out there, as well as the fact that the bird has a lot of plumage. So whenever it goes into the water, you're gonna have some heat loss at that point. So we'll get this up to about 170 and then run it over to the barn. Normally what we do is, let me flip it around here, show you our chicken plucker. Normally we would connect a hose right here, and that would run water through like a perforated hose on the inside so that whenever it's spinning, it lubricates the feathers and washes them down through the hole in the bottom. I haven't done the plumbing in the barn since I made Jimmy and Yeti's spot in there. So I'm just gonna use a 5-gallon bucket of water. We'll get the rooster dunked, drop him into the plucker, and then pour fresh water in there to flush away the feathers. We'll see how clean the first one comes out. Usually it takes a couple of birds to get it dialed in with temperature and everything. But we're just making stock out of this guy. So if some of the skin rips or whatever, it's not a big deal. All right, so this is the part where I always get a copyright violation because I can't help but splice in, "You spin me right round, baby, like a record, baby, right round, round, round," whenever I drop this guy in there. All right, let's get the water going. Worst job in the world. Scalding pot's a little small for a big bird like this. This summer we'll get a larger capacity pot to dunk them in, but I'm going to spend about 5 minutes, pull the rest of these feathers out, and then we'll go get this guy eviscerated and ready to roast and boil for a while. All right, this guy is reasonably clean, I think. We're going to take him in and get him eviscerated and cleaned out, and then we're going to break him down so that we can roast him off in the oven a little bit, get a little bit of color on him, and then he's going to go into a stock pot. All right, so what do we mean when we say that we need to clean the chicken? Basically, there are things on the inside that need to come out. First up by the neck here, we have the crop. This is sort of a pouch or pre-stomach that's going to have food and gravel and straw and all kinds of other crap in it. We're going to remove that, hopefully in one piece without puncturing. If we do, it's not a big deal. We can rinse out any debris that gets in there. Then we're going to move down here from the bottom of the sternum to the vent, or the cloaca. We're going to open that up and eviscerate the bird, take out the intestines, the liver, the gizzard, the heart, the kidneys, in this guy's case, the testes. We're going to remove all that and remove the vent, hopefully keeping as much of that intact as possible to avoid contamination. Again, if you puncture anything, if something tears, if you get something on it, it's not a big deal. Rinse it off. We're going to be roasting and cooking this for a very long time. So a little contact isn't going to be a big deal. So let's get in here and remove the crop first. Now, for stuff like this, I do like to use a small knife, either a boning knife, like a fillet knife, or a paring knife. The reason is that you have a lot of control over the blade. It's small, it goes exactly where you want it to. And this isn't like a brute force operation. This is sort of a surgical endeavor. We just want to get in, open it up, and we're gonna be using our hands more than anything else, all right? So let's get to work on the crop here. And I mean, this guy's skin is thick. This is gonna be wonderful. So what I'm gonna do is try to go around the outside. I mean, there's different ways to do this. Usually I'm in here, bing, bang, boom, and rip it out. But I'm trying to make this look somewhat interesting to you. Basically, once you puncture the skin, there's a little bit of a membrane surrounding the actual bag there. Now listen, this is a little difficult because at the moment, right now, like literally right now, Yeti's over here sniffing the chicken's feet. Jimmy's on the other side chewing on my shorts. So hopefully he doesn't nip the back of my thigh while I'm in a compromising position. Yeti, get out of here. Come on, dude. Anyway. Ooh. Now the bag itself that forms the crop is fairly robust. Like you can put a lot of force on it without having too much of a risk of rupture. But that said, you know, sometimes you pull a little too hard. Sometimes the membrane is a little bit more sticky than you expect it to be, and you might have a little bit of a problem. Now we have inside here essentially the esophagus, and whatever the organ is that connects the crop to the stomach. So we got to get our fingers right behind there, and then we can excise this whole thing. And hopefully I'm not moving them around too much and getting them off of, like, out of frame. But here we go. This is the crop right there. Now if we pull it up like this, we can create a void and just snip it off, because otherwise you're not going to be able to pull the stomach up through the throat like that. So we can get this, we'll set it aside, it'll get composted or whatever. Now usually at this point I would cut around the neck, break the vertebrae, pull the neck off, but since he's just going in the stock pot, we'll leave all that intact. Then we move down here. Now if it's a hen, usually the sternum ends around in this region, and you have 2 or 3 inches between the sternum and the vent, where you can make an incision. With the males, that breastplate goes way down into here, so it's basically you got about 1 inch between the end of the sternum and the start of the vent, which means I'm going to make a V-shaped incision. And also usually I take the feet off at this point, so they're not sticking up and getting in my way also. But again, stock bird, feet are staying on, not cutting those off. So we'll make like I said, a V-shaped incision and try to make it as superficial as possible, like so that we don't get in there and puncture the viscera right off the bat. There we go. All right, once you get your fingers in there, you can kind of just pull that apart. Move the knife so that I don't slip and crucify myself. First thing we're gonna pull out is the gizzard. Oh, yeah. Now there we go. It's got a little bit of now that ruptured there is between the gizzard and the stomach. So this is just basically undigested food. The gizzard is this muscular organ with a real tough membrane around the outside. The food goes through there and gets ground together before being passed on to the stomach. Right now I'm trying to grab a hold of his heart. I can feel it in there, but his opening is so small. See, now we have this intestine that attaches to the cloaca there. What we can do is go right in between these thigh bones on either side. Basically cut his butthole out and remove all of this in one fell swoop. There we go, now I can get my hand in there. We've got a liver, we've got a heart, might have some lungs. Oh, you hear that. Testy, liver, heart. The trio, the trifecta, the trinity. He's got another testy in there somewhere. All right. That's good enough for horseshoes and hand grenades. Rinse all this crap out. And there he is. Got a little feather on there. Pull these off. All right, here's our chicken. He's nice and clean. He's cooling down very quickly now that all of his confetti's out. And we're gonna take him in. Sarah's probably gonna break him down and put him in the oven to roast him a little bit, and then into a stock pot for potentially 48 to 72 hours. I don't know how long she wants to do that. All right, we'll see you inside. All right, my love, I got you this delicious chicken.
Thank you.
Oh God, I got stuck on the...
That's a rooster.
It is a rooster. And he did, and he's gonna turn into stock, right?
Yes.
So
normally, I just use the bones, but this
Right.
is a rooster and we're just going to
Yeah,
go for it.
this may be super tough. We'd have to stew it forever
Yeah.
anyway.
Maybe you can do this.
Okay. Ready when you are.
Okay. Olive oil. Nice drizzle.
The color is really nice in that. It's amazing how dark the dark meat of the chicken is when it's 15 minutes post-mortem.
And some good salt.
Good salt. Very nice. You say 425, 450?
450.
450 for a while. I think it's time to flip. Whoa, I got a little sauna. It's hard to put a oven mitt on one-handed. Looking good. It's probably hard to flip chicken parts one-handed too. Do I look at the chicken parts or do I look at the phone screen? Oh, I can't do it. I can't do it. Especially it's my left hand. Hold on. Hold on. Here we go. Switch over to the right. There we go. Look at that. Dexterous. Grab this foot. Wow, 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 wow. Try not to drop everything on the ground. There we go. Back in you go. That looks really pretty. We're gonna get the stock pot all cleaned up and get this in there with a bunch of water, 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar to leach out some additional stuff from the bones. And we're gonna get this simmering for a day and a half.
Okay, so this is our bone broth after about 36 hours. You can see the color is a little bit deeper, darker. There is some fat around the top, which you could ladle off, or I usually just, whenever I jar it, put it in the fridge. That will all accumulate at the top and you can kind of just spoon it off that way. I'm going to show you the bones and everything. Everything kind of separates. The bones are super brittle at this point. I could just break them by hand. And so yeah, so what we're gonna do next is strain this through some cheesecloth and then put that into jars. I'm gonna let it cool just a little bit more and then I'll put them in my fridge. You'll want to use this, I believe, within like 7 days. You might push it a little bit after that, but I usually drink it often, so it's gone by the 7-day mark anyways. So that's the bone broth.